Hey guys, welcome back. All right, here is the S Power video. This is going to be first use, first setup, and everything. This is going to be the part 2 to repairing this big old link here. So you got this bar. This is everything they sent me. I'm going to try to only use the tools they sent me. Obviously, I need a power source like a welder, so we'll be using a miller for that. But I'm going to try to use everything that they sent, all of the bearing mounts, cutters, everything. So measuring tools that they sent, we'll try to use those as well. So let's get this set up, get the bar set up, and then we'll start working on the bearings. I have not used this setup yet, so I'm going to be a little slow on the first setup, and I might even do it wrong. I might have to redo something or whatever. I don't know, because everything is a little bit different. All right, so after a little bit of work, we've got this bar extremely close parallel to the other bar. So we just stuck the climax bar in here, centering cones. This pinhole looked really good. Still had a nice chamfer on there. You know, everything's touching. It'll be really close. And you can see, you guys might laugh about it, but due to the situation going on here, and I've actually done this before, using cardboard as a shim to get this bar to sit where I want it, and it actually worked. It's dead on the money. But I wanted to point out this is how they show in their instructions that you tighten the bar. You stick a tool holder in there, and you just use the spanner wrench, tighten it or loosen it. That's how they tension the bar. I thought that was interesting. It's creative. All right, so let's get these bearings set up and see what that's all about. Okay, so I'm going to kind of point out the things that I like and don't like as I go along here. So when I was doing the centering cones, I noticed there's like sand or something in here. I don't know what that is. Then you could just see, just stuff all over the bolts. It's cheap for a reason. So they're going to cut corners where they can, which is understandable. They're trying to make a cheap product. If something doesn't make sense to me, maybe somebody understands. So I'm trying to find a set screw to hold that tool holder in. And this is all the ones that they came with. And I see coarse thread and fine thread, and I'm just assuming that everything on here is metric. So we've got fine thread, and then the hole that I'm trying to do is coarse thread, and then all these are coarse thread. So it's like half of the bar is coarse, half of the bar is fine, and then you have the a threaded hole on the back side. Those are all fine thread all the way down. So I was really confused. This coarse thread one is too small. It needs to be this size, but coarse thread. I have a standard sized, non-metric one, and it happens to fit in there. This came out of my Climax box, and that one threads in there. I'm not sure what that's all about. So overall, the fit and finish of stuff is decent. You get like some hammer marks on here, some scratches, kind of a ugly looking serial number. The bar itself, there's lots of burrs and stuff in the holes still from tapping and cutting. Overall, it seems to be decent so far. So I do really like that the bar spins fast. It spins faster than the Climax one, but that can also be adjusted. And it is very quiet, and I mean very quiet. So now that we have a set screw, let's see how it cuts. All right, very first cut with S power. Very smooth, very quiet. Seems like it has got power. We could have went faster. So, all right, let's keep going. Okay, so this is the tool and insert that I was using. Same cutting edge. Did all that, no problem. Still looks good. That worked really well. I do not like this. It like is kind of funky to use. It's not very user friendly. This thing like kind of like binds up and it's hard to move. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. I don't know. But so far that's really the only thing that I super don't like. Okay, now it's time to figure out the welding. So let's figure out the bore welder. And like I said in the other video, we only need to bore weld this side because we left this side undersized. If you guys want to know what happened here, check out part 1. And yeah, so we're gonna figure out the bore welder and get this side all welded out. All right, so we just kind of were messing with it and it started going really well, so we just kept it going. So far, so good. This thing has a like an automatic bore set. You kind of just set the diameter of the bore right there and it kind of makes the adjustments for you. This is what we are running. So all right, we'll see how this first pass goes. Well, everything seemed like it was fine, and then now I heard something arcing inside of the tube here. So let's take this apart and see what happened inside there. But it was going fairly smooth, probably off a little bit at my settings. I'm still trying to, you know, learn where it needs to be. All right, let's see what happened. Interesting. Okay. Okay, the only thing I see is this little arc mark right here. There's like a little tiny mark right there. And then there's just a little tiny arc mark right inside here. Probably can't even barely see it in the video. Right there. I'm guessing maybe this flexed or something and this touched the wall of that. I'm gonna wrap this with tape. And then if it looks like it's, you know, sitting there wearing on it, then maybe we'll machine like a UHMW bushing or something like that to go on it for future. But we're gonna put electrical tape on that and see if that fixes the problem. Okay, so we got our first pass in there. Took a little bit of experimenting, figuring all this out without any instructions, but we figured it out. Okay, so on to our second pass, and hopefully have it dialed in a little bit better, and it'll get better and better and better. Okay, so we got our second pass in there. It's not too bad. I think it could be better. Trying to get it figured out. So got her cleaned up and lined up for the third pass. So let's see how the third one goes. All right, so we got 4 passes in there. One thing that I do not like, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. Let me see if I can set this up here. There we go. Okay, so on like some of the other line boring systems I've used, you can change out the end, which will give you different gun angles. This one you adjust by moving this like this, right? Okay, so if you have a bigger diameter bore, this is more straight down, the wire's coming straight down. And as the bore gets smaller, the wire is more shooting out straight, which leads to the issue of it's harder to get closer to this outside edge, which kind of leaves you like a tapered weld. Like I said, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm not sure. This is the very first time I've used this setup. But that's what I've noticed so far. The only thing that I really don't like is that and this thing. There's a little bit of flex in this bearing and it causes it to bind, and the handle's kind of funky. It's actually easier to grab it like this and rotate it versus like that. All right, so 4 passes in. We got a little bit of hand welding to do just to tidy up these edges. So we're gonna get that done. Then we're gonna let it cool off. Then we're gonna make our final cuts. Okay, so we're gonna cut this out now. This will be a good test to see how it handles interrupted cuts here. All right. Well, there was a lot of interrupted cutting, probably up to almost 3/16 to 1/4 inch on some of those high spots, and no problems. Cut right through it. Even the carbide tool that came with it, cut right through it. There's a little bit of chatter, but that's to be expected. Okay, we have about 3/16 more to go, and let's see what happens. This is actually working out better than expected, but it has its ups and downs. I do like the digital speed control here. That's really nice. Seems like around 230 is a good number. All right, let's keep chugging away here. So here's an example. What I'm saying when there's like burrs and stuff. If you look in that hole there, you can See that from like the drilling or tapping. See that one right there. It's not, you know, it's not a big deal, but it's okay. Well, we're gonna get this set up. Maybe one more cut and we'll be right on our target. And then we'll see kind of how this tool does with a little bit of step facing. Nothing crazy, but there's gonna be a lot of interruptions on this side. So we'll see kind of how it handles that. Everything seems to be working out pretty well. Okay, so they sent this measuring tool here, and it's a good concept where you put it over the tool and you measure it. I can't seem to get it to read correctly. So we're using the Climax tool adjuster, and we want 0.77 for our stick out from the bar. So we are right on that. So should be able to just cut right through here, cut through this bore, cut through that bore, and that should be our hopefully final cut. All right, that worked really well. For that little step face right there, we'll just kiss that with a flappy wheel and it'll smooth all that out. Now we're gonna do this side. Working out great. Okay, so we got that all faced and done with the line boring setup now. So we're gonna tear this down and see if our pin fits. Then we're gonna have to basically finish making the pin, welding the bracket on, drilling it, tapping it for grease fittings, and all that, because this gets greased through the pin. So that's the next step. All right, we got all tore apart and cleaned up. Looks pretty good. All right, let's see if the pin fits in there. All right, so we have our pin, and here's our hold down plate that the owner of this machine fabricated. So we're gonna put it this way. Jacob machined this, did a pretty good job. So this is gonna be our hold down bung, which is gonna kind of go like this. And it's gonna sit like that. So that way the bung will get welded and this can free float on that a little bit. And then we'll have a bolt and a big washer to You don't want to pinch it because you want this to be able to kind of move if it has to, just a hair. All right, now we are going to drill the pin, drill the center, drill a grease hole, and put a grease fitting in it. And then prep the edges and everything and get it ready for welding this retainer plate on. Okay, we have our horizontal hole drilled for our grease. We countersunk the grease fitting, so it's a lot less likely to get broken off now. Now all we have to do is just drill down and intersect that hole. All right, we got that hole drilled, and then we're just gonna check it to make sure we got passageway there. All right, that's plenty for grease. Now let's get this set up for welding. Well, that worked out really well. So that's not necessarily a spray transfer, but that's just regular hard wire, 75-25 turned up, high voltage, a little bit less on the wire. We put a sacrificial air fitting in here, the style that we don't use, so that way the threads are good. No dingleberries in the threads. Okay, we're gonna let that cool off a little bit. Then we're gonna slide the pin in there, and then we'll weld on our bung. And then see if we can't find some paint that is whatever color yellow this is. Not quite John Deere, too light for cat. See what we can come up with. Okay, we got our bung on there. Perfect fit. Got a little bit of stick out on this side. Then we're gonna do that, just like that. But now we are gonna paint it first, trying to see which color yellow of all the colors that we have available is the closest match. And we'll try to fade this in and make it look as good as possible. All right. I think that's it. Got our grease fitting in there, and it came out pretty good. So this is the center link on a large Kobelco loader. I'm gonna show you some pictures the customer sent me. That way you kind of get an idea of where this is located on the machine. We have probably about 45 hours or so into this entire repair. All right, well, time to load it up and get it installed. All right, so what are my thoughts on S-Power? First use of S-Power machine, it was fairly simple for me to figure out kind of how everything went and worked without any instructions. They did send me an email with some instructions. It wasn't that great, so I just basically just did it on my own. You can see like everything is in there versus all of my Climax stuff. You can see, you got the hydraulic unit, all the bearings and mounts and things in there, and this is just a bunch of other stuff. So it's definitely compact. And then obviously we're missing the bar, but compact, like you could set that in your truck, that's already all watertight and ready to go. As far as transporting, seems nice and easy. It definitely works. There's just a few small things that I didn't like, but maybe those things could be fixed. And maybe I set it up wrong, but with what I was able to figure out, it worked. We were able to achieve a job, tight tolerances, everything on that came out great. So for under 10,000 US dollars, I would highly recommend the S-Power as a starter kit. It will definitely get you by doing this kind of stuff, heavy equipment, buckets and all that, no problem. You know, they have a facing tool. I have a project coming up where my Climax facing head does not fit in there, but the S-Power one will. So we will be doing a lot of facing with that, and we will see how that performs. So yeah, I definitely recommend trying it out. If you're just getting into the line boring, give it a try. If you're interested, check out Mobile Machine Source out of Florida. They have a website, and you can call over there. I believe the gentleman's name is Robert. You can talk to them. They're tons of knowledge. And, you know, these guys use this S-Power machine in the field all the time for all their mobile service calls and everything. So give them a shout if you're interested. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All right, well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.